welcome back to my channel. My name is Casey. This is Casey Undercovers, and today we are going to do my summer TBR library card game. Library card, if you don't know, is a game I play here seasonally on my channel, and I have quite a few changes. I remade the board, so let's go over those changes really quick. So here is the new board. I'm hoping that you're going to be able to see the colors and the symbols a little bit better. On this board, it's a little bit smaller, so I can zoom in a little closer when I'm playing, so I'm hoping that is going to help going forward. I know before it was a little bit hard to see the spaces, so I'm hoping that will help. There have been some spaces removed and some changed, so let's just quickly go over that, okay? I no longer have dystopian on the board. That falls into very much fantasy or sci-fi category, so it has been absorbed. I don't have young adult on the board anymore as a genre, but I did add it in as a prompt card as well as children or middle grade as a prompt card. Anthology is no longer on the board. That is now a prompt card as well. Series is no longer on the board. That is a prompt card now as well to either start, continue, or finish a series. And reading list is no longer on the board. That is a prompt card now as well. A new space that was added to the board is plays and poetry, and that would be represented by this little mask guy here. So just going over quickly what the spaces are. The castle is fantasy, the robot is sci-fi, the magnifying glass is mystery, the knife is thriller, Rose is romance. The book in the green space is a classic. I don't know if you could see this one that well. That orange space with a comic book is graphic novel or comic. The diary is a memoir. The ship on the blue square is nonfiction, non-memoir. So like history, women's studies, science, something of true crime, something of that nature. The lavender square with the quill and ink is literary. The moon in the purple square is magical realism. And I think all the way down here, the ghost in the gray square is horror. The burgundy square with the teapot is historical fiction. The black square with the jar is my TBR jar pool. And then you have the fairy in the brown square, which is folklore and fairy tales. And then this one, the little mask, is plays and poetry. So we do have a good variety on there. So hopefully going forward, this is helping with you guys being able to see them a little better, with getting some more variety in my TBR. So I'm excited about this. Now, how did I do in spring? Let's review. Because I did not finish my winter TBR, I had to pull a late find. My late find was to add one of the oldest TBR vets to my list, and for that I had chosen Blood and Gold by Anne Rice. This is the 8th book in the Vampire Chronicles series, but I did not get to this one. My second prompt was a romance published after 2020, and for this I read Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. This is the first book in the Empyrean series, and I did read this. The third prompt was reading list, and for that I chose a book from my 40 by 40 list, which was The Perks of Being a Wallflower by Chobosky, and I did read this. My fourth prompt was a fantasy set in a different country, and for that I chose Volume 2 of the Oz series by L. Frank Baum, but I'm still in the process of reading this and I won't finish it in time. My fifth prompt was a magical realism under 200 pages, and for this I chose The Deep by Rivers Solomon, but I did not get to this one either. My sixth prompt was a mystery with a 6 or more word title, and for this I chose The Last House on Needless Street by Catriona Ward, and I did read this. My seventh prompt was a romance with a castle on the cover, and for this I chose Cruel is the Light by Sophie Clark, and I did read this. By the way, this is not a castle, this is the Vatican, which I didn't know until I read the book, but I did read it. My eighth prompt was a series with a reptile on the cover, and for this I chose What the River Knows by Isabel Ibanez. This is the first book in the Secrets of the Nile duology, and I'm currently reading this and will have it finished by the end of June. My ninth book was a reference desk prompt, which means I pull from my TBR jar, and for that I pulled Listen for the Lie by Amy Tintera, but I did not get to this one. For my 10th prompt, I landed on Anthology with a mythical creature on the cover, and for this I chose Hans Christian Andersen's fairy tale collection, and I did read this. My 11th prompt was sci-fi with an ugly cover, and for that I chose Sunrise on the Reaping by Suzanne Collins. This is the 5th book in the Hunger Games series. It is a prequel, and I did read this. My 12th book was a historical fiction book with a small town setting, and for this I chose Lessons in Chemistry by Bonnie Garmus, and I did read this. My 13th and final book was a reading list, and I chose this from my Buzzwordathon list, and it was a book with a 5-word title, and for that I chose A Sorceress Comes to Call by T. Kingfisher, and I did read this. So I did read 8 out of 13 books, but that does not cut it, so I will be pulling a late find to start this round. I already know what that is, so let's just get into the game, you guys. Let's just do this. Start our first game with our pretty new board. I'm hoping you can see those little symbols a lot better than you could in the past with this board being smaller and the symbols being a little bit bigger, so I'm hoping that will help us all out, and I'll tell you what they are as we go, just so we could get used to the new symbols, the new colors, everything like that. And I swear when I made this board that the yellow for the poetry and plays was a lot different from the memoir yellow, but when it printed out, it's all the same. But that's okay, we know the symbols. Let's get started with our late find, because once again, I did not complete my TBR. I'm pretty sure I'll never complete my TBR. No. Oh my god. This is not the time for this. Okay, I was playing, like, just for funsies when I made the new board, and I pulled this same penalty. And it's fun to build the TBR, but in reality, reading pages, like, books only 500 pages or longer, ooh, in practice, that is gonna suck. I'm in trouble. I'm in a lot of trouble. Alright, that's what we're doing. Alright, hopefully I roll all 12s the entire game and only pull like $5. Okay, let's do this. Has a spider or insect on the cover, or butterfly. Published between 1970 and 1990. Published between 1900 and 1950. 400 to 500 pages, it's gonna have to be the 500. I don't think I could do that one actually with this, so let's just discard this one. Has a building or skyline on the cover. A Z title. Those are not great. Not great to start. Alright, let's get started. First roll. 9. All right, we're going well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. A non-fiction over 500 pages. All right, alrighty then. Okay. What's up, I'm gonna die. With also, I could have a K title. So let's see what non-fiction I can pull for this. Okay, I'm sorry if the camera angle is a little different. I stopped to switch out all of my potential reads for the stacks that I have around me from the summary books I was planning on making my TBR out of to all the books that I own over 500 pages. So now that I've switched all of the books out, I can proceed. For my first roll, I landed on nonfiction, and I chose Has a Building or a Skyline on the cover. For that, I'm going to read 1491 New Revelations of the Americas Before Columbus by Charles C. Mann. And if you can see, there are little building huts on the cover. So this totally works. Roll number 2. 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. The magnifying glass is a mystery. Has a person or people on the cover. That's a much easier prompt than some of these other ones. So let's take a look and see what I have. For my second roll, I landed on mystery and chose the prompt published between 1970 and 1990. And for this, I'm going to be reading Christine by Stephen King. This was published in 1982, so it fits right in. And it's also one of the books on my 40 by 40 list, so it's good that I got this on here. Just to help myself out a little bit, I don't actually have any books that have a Z title, so I'm gonna discard this card and pull another one. A W title. Those I do have. Okay, that helps just a little. Okay. All right, roll number 3. 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Another mystery. Oh God. Okay. At sea or underwater setting. Well, okay, this time I landed on mystery again, and I chose W title, and for that I will be reading The Woman in White by Wilkie Collins. This is a classic mystery, so I'm looking forward to this one. Roll number 4. Big number. Big number. 3. That is not what I was going for. 1, 2, 3. That's magical realism, the little moons. Has space, stars, or planets on the cover. You know, I know that I only have one magical realism book, so I've landed on magical realism, and I needed this for a reading challenge I'm doing anyway, and I went with a at sea or underwater setting, and I am going to be reading The Starless Sea by Erin Morgenstern. I loved The Night Circus, so I hope this one is just as good. If I were to pull another magical realism prompt, if I were to land on that genre space again, I will pick the closest to 500 books I can get because I don't have any more over 500. This is the best I can do, so just keep that in mind. Roll number 5. 2. And I want to. I would get another magical realism prompt. Okay. Everything is against me. A U title. I don't know how many of those I have. Let's go see what kind of longer-ish magical realism books that I have. Magical realism again, and I am gonna go with a person or people on the cover, and for that I will be reading The Carnival of Curiosities by Amy Gibbs. This does give me Night Circus vibes, and you see there are 3 people on the cover, so let's give this one a shot. I doubt it'll be as good as the Night Circus, but we'll keep an open mind. Roll number 6. 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Folklore or fairy tales? Ooh, that one's gonna be hard. None of my folklore books are over 500 pages, so I'll look for like a retelling or something in my fantasy books, which I have a lot of. I title. Folklore or fairy tales. So I don't have any folklore or fairy tale books that are more than 500 pages. So we're gonna do our best with what we have and just kind of let this one slide. But I'm gonna go with U title here, and I'm gonna be reading The United States of Cryptid by J.W. Ocker. And it's only 288 pages, I think. It's not quite 300, but at least it does fit the prompt. Roll number 7, and I'm only on the 3rd row. 9, yes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Literary fiction. Purple quill there is literary fiction. Features time travel. Well, that doesn't really go in literary fiction, does it? Okay, now literary fiction. A little bit of variety considering I've already had a few repeats. And I'm going to do has insects, spiders, or butterflies on the cover. And for that, I will be reading Demon Copperhead by Barbara Kingsolver. And I needed a book with a white cover for a reading challenge, so this is perfect. Roll number 8. 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. TBR jar. That black space with the jar on it is a TBR jar. Let's get it going. And this is totally random. Whatever I pull. There's like 900 pieces of paper in here, by the way. Let's give it a shuffle. Shuffle, shuffle. Oh, you know what? We're just gonna pick that one. The one that fell out. So eager to get rid. The Familiar. That is Leigh Bardugo. Let me grab that. Now I have landed on TBR jar, and I'm not going to pull and pull and pull out of my TBR jar until I get a 500-page book. We're just going to go with whatever fate has in store. And for my first pull, I pulled, can you see, The Familiar by Leigh Bardugo. So this is what I'll be reading from my first TBR jar pull. And it's like a romantasy, historical romance, historical fantasy book, so I'm glad to get some variety into my TBR. Roll number 9. 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Classic. Green with the book on it is classic. D title has been added. All right, let me take a little look. And now we have landed on classics, and for that I'm gonna go with an I title, and that is The Idiot by Fyodor Dostoevsky. I've never read anything by Dostoevsky. I'm pretty sure this is not the way to start, but it is in fact what I'm gonna be doing. So here we go. Roll number 11. I don't know if you could see that. It's a 2. I promise. It's just a 2. Another really small roll. 1, 2, another TBR jar. Okay, the benefit of TBR jar is I might get like a novella or something. Let's do it again. Oh, I dropped one. Should I pick that one? I'm not picking that one this time. I'm not gonna look at it either. Okay, let's do whatever this is. 9 Perfect Strangers, so a thriller. Okay, let's do that. Should I look and see what this one was? Dark Force Rising. Oh, I would have taken that one, but okay. No, we're gonna... 9 Perfect Strangers. And we have landed on TBR jar again, and for this one, I'm gonna be reading 9 Perfect Strangers, which is just fine. This is by Liane Moriarty, and this will help me in the Herkid challenge for an Australian author. If you need an Australian author, this is a good one for thrillers. I've never read anything by her, but know her books are very popular and most have been adapted. So I am looking forward to this being a little bit of variety in my TBR and breaking up all those long classics. I think this is roll number 12. I think. Let's do it again. Let's try again. Oh, off the board again. 7. See? 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Historical fiction. The little teapot on the burgundy square. Historical fiction. Urban setting. Historical fiction. And I have made a terrible decision, but I'm sticking to it. So I'm going to do a book that features time travel, and I'm going to be reading The Fiery Cross by Diana Gabaldon. This is over 1,400 pages. It is a brick. It is the 5th book in the Outlander series. I recently read Drums of Autumn book 4, and I really had a good time. Even though they're very long, I love the characters in these books, so it does go by quicker for me, and this will make up for any little deficits I have with books that are not 500 pages, so cut me some slack here. Lucky number 13. 7 again. Which way was I going? This way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Literary fiction again. Contains a map. Probably not, though. Literary fiction again, and I'm gonna go with an urban setting, and for that I will be reading The Goldfinch by Donna Tartt. This takes place in New York. It has been on my reading list for a while. It is 700 pages, so I'm doing it. I'm not excited anymore. I'm scared, you guys. I'm a little nervous. There's no way I'm gonna be doing this. Please make it end. Please make it end. I think this is number 14. 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Another nonfiction. Anthology. That doesn't work. Another nonfiction, and this time I am going to go with a D title, and for this I will be reading The Dawn of Everything, A New History of Humanity by David Graeber and David Wengrow. I do also have this on audiobook. I've been listening to a lot of nonfiction audiobooks, trying to fill in my reading gaps, like when I'm getting ready for work and cooking and stuff. So this will be the next one I get into. Roll number 15. 11. Yes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Horror. The Little Ghost is horror. E-title. Let's see. I do have a lot of horror books I pulled. Not done yet. 500-page books. Couldn't get a small amount of books. No, it had to be like 15 books, right? We have landed on horror, and I'm going to go with anthology, and for that I'm going to read Hearts in Atlantis by Stephen King. These are 5 interconnected short stories, and you could always do with more Stephen King, right? Please let this be my last roll. Roll number 16. Please be the last one. 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. One more. Why not? Okay. Historical fiction. Young adult. I don't have any young adult historical fiction. Let's see what I have. The last one. There's no way we could get another book, right? Right? Okay. So, historical fiction again. We're going to do K title, and for this I'll read Catherine by Anya Senton. I've had this book on my TBR for like 2 years. It's a chunky girl, but I'm glad to be getting to it. And just for funsies' sake, let's roll our way off the board. 4. All done. That was a lot. That was a lot. My soul hurts. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna lose. But it is summer. It's slow season for me at the restaurant. I've got more time to read, I guess. Let's remain optimistic. Let's remain optimistic. I will catch you guys in the next one. I will see you for my fall TBR, where I'll probably be pulling another late find. What are you reading this summer? Tell me all about it in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will catch you on the next one. Bye.